why don't we call our regular meeting to order at 9:45 a.m. this morning. In the true spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge all those who call this land home now and for thousands of years in the past. May we respect each other and find understanding together and recognize the benefits that this land provides to all of us. Thank you for joining us this morning. We can move down to item B, adoption of our agenda. You've been provided an agenda for today's meeting. Are there any additions, deletions, any issues with the agenda? Councillor Sayers.
I'd move the adoption of the agenda for today's meeting.
Thank you, Mark. Mark has moved for the adoption of the agenda for the Thursday, October 19th, 2023 County Council meeting. Is there any discussion? Not. Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Adoption of the minutes. The minutes of the County Council meeting October 5th, 2023 have been circulated. Are there any errors or omissions? Any issues arising from the minutes? Councillor Van Essen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the adoption of County Council meeting minutes from the October 5th meeting.
Thank you, Eric. Eric has moved for the adoption of the County Council meeting minutes October 5th, 2023. Any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Move down. Department reports. We have two from corporate services this morning. D, we can move to item 1D 1.1, tax penalty waiver request, roll 7050200. And with that, we have Jennifer Place, our Director of Corporate Services. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to preface these couple of reports just with some information for council that when I receive these emails or have the opportunity, I do try to correspond with the individuals and sort of express council's historical decision. I always say it's up to them whether or not they want to proceed with bringing it forward to council, and that the decision ultimately is council's, and I don't know what that would be, but just so council is aware that I am trying to work with the individuals prior to bringing these forward, and hopefully we don't see many more for the rest of the year. So the first one here is with regards to tax roll 7050200. As council's aware, we've had a few of these this year, so you're familiar with the Municipal Government Act section that allows council to cancel or reduce taxes, cancel or refund a portion of, or defer the collection of taxes. For this particular request, an email was received from Mr. Van Giesen with regards to penalties that were applied to his tax roll. In the email, it states that he did not receive a copy of the property tax notice in the mail and was not aware that the taxes were due by July 31st. However, upon receipt of the statement in August, which included a penalty, he did contact the county office immediately and made payment of the tax levy amount. When we reviewed the county records, a title change was noted on this tax roll from November of 2022, and the address in the system did match the address that was provided by the individual. As council's aware, tax notices were mailed on June 7th and were advertised in the Sunny South News, County Connection, and the utility bill inserts for those who receive utilities, as well as on the website and social media for several weeks following the mail of the tax notices. Additionally, as per the MGA, I believe I mentioned this to council in the past, taxes are deemed to have been received 7 days after they are sent, if they are not returned to the county office, and we did not have a returned envelope delivered back to the county. The tax penalty waiver request is for the amount of $365.66. Of course, council has the option to waive the penalty altogether, which would satisfy this request. However, there is a penalty bylaw in place, and waiving that could set precedent for future requests. They could waive a portion of the penalty. Again, would partially satisfy the request, but again, set the precedent, or deny the request altogether. And if council were to deny, the loss of revenue to the county would be that penalty amount of $365.66.
Thank you, Jen. I'd open up to council for discussion. Deputy Reeve Kurbis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just so to clarify, the second notice with the penalty was mailed out to the same address as the first notice then?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion from council? Klaus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move that the County Council not waive tax penalties in the amount of $365.66. as requested by tax roll 7050200.
Thank you, Claus. Claus has moved that county council not waive tax penalties in the amount of $365.66 as requested for tax roll 7050200. Any further discussion? Councillor Van Essen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really scratched my head on what can we do to keep this from happening, and if there's anything beyond our current method. I feel that the county has many avenues of reaching out, and that we use whatever I'm aware of for putting the notices out there that taxes are due. It is your responsibility if you suspect or whatever. I myself, and I think it's a great one, set up for auto payment. The county pulls it on all your tax rolls. So, great avenues to go with it. So if there's any new ideas on other things we can do to just try to make sure they're out there better, I'm definitely for looking into that. But here again, it comes down to responsibility of the payee. So I support Klaus's motion.
Thanks, Eric. Is there any further discussion? So Klaus has moved that county council not waive tax penalties in the amount of $365.66 as requested by tax roll 7050200. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Our second one, Jen, D1.2, tax penalty waiver request, roll 33632103. Jen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This particular tax roll is asking again for a waiver of penalties in the amount of $299.22. Of course, the same previous direction in Municipal Government Act section applies. An email was received from Ms. Lancer following, she came into the office when she had the late payments and came in and made the payments. She indicated that the property was purchased this past year and was not aware that they owed taxes until they were notified by their lawyer in September. When we looked at our records again, the tax clerk reported that 2 tax certificates were issued on this particular property during the purchase that took place in June, both of which stated that there was an outstanding levy that was due on July 31st, and this information was relayed back to the property owner. However, she said that she would still like to move forward with the waiver request for council's consideration. Again, I noted that tax notices were mailed on June 7th and all of the avenues that we did advertise within. The same pros or cons of waiving all or a portion of apply. And again, the loss of tax penalty revenue would be $299.22.
Thank you, Jen. I'd again open it up to council for any discussion. Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a point of clarification again. The tax notices, were they sent to her directly or to the lawyer? Or how, because you were mentioning the lawyer, I didn't quite get that maybe.
Yeah, so I believe at the time the request of the tax certificates were received was after June 7th. However, the tax certificates that were issued to both the purchaser and buyer's lawyers stated that there was a levy on file that was due.
How would you like to proceed? Deputy Reeve Curvis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move that county council not waive the tax penalty in the amount of $299.22 as requested on tax roll 336-32103.
Thank you, John. John has moved the recommendation that county council not waive tax penalties in the amount of $299.22 as requested on tax roll 33632103. Any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
We can move down. Item E, County Council and Committee Updates. Lethbridge County Council Attendance Update, September 2023. Start in Division 1. Councillor Lauren Hickey. Lauren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So on the 6th, attended the Public Works workshop, and 6 was again FCSS, had 2 council meetings and Green Acres meetings. Nothing really out of the ordinary, so pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Division 2, a few highlights. On September the 8th, the CAO, Director of Infrastructure, and myself were fortunate to receive a tour through Southland Trailers. I want to thank the Saylor family for having us through and showing us their facility and what they're doing in Lethbridge County and the potential growth they have. And then subsequently want to thank them for extending the invitation to have all of council come back and tour through the facility. A lot of great things happening in the county, and again, just want to extend that thank you to the family and to everyone at Southland for including us in that. Had a agri-food corridor update meeting, a virtual meeting, so everyone from Lethbridge moving east to Medicine Hat, mayors, Reeves, throughout the region had a meeting update with MLA Hunter on some of the things happening throughout the corridor, talking about water, wastewater, utilizing ACP grants to try and come up with some data-driven decisions on how we address servicing that corridor and the potential that lies there. On the 22nd, was asked to attend the Shaughnessy Playground grand opening. A huge thank you to everyone in the Shaughnessy community for the work that went into that. I know the county did contribute funds to that, some substantial funds through ASB, but to have it end up the way it did and come through the way it did, it wouldn't have happened without the volunteers and the people in that community making that all happen. It's a beautiful playground, beautiful courts, new roof on the cook shack there, so really proud of that. Actively, this council and the previous council have done a lot of work investing in our communities, making those safe places for people to come gather, for children to play in a safe and in a safe way. And I really do give credit to council for shepherding that through. It's been great to see those communities come back to life. On September 26th through the 29th, Deputy Reeve Kurbis and CAO Beck and I attended the Alberta Municipalities Convention. So that's the annual convention for the urban municipalities, essentially lobbying group. It was a great opportunity to connect with leaders from throughout the province, more so from the south here, work with our smaller urbans. We were able to stand in one place essentially and connect with everyone from Barron's, Colehurst, Nobleford, Pitcher Butte, Coledale, the city, and then some of our neighboring municipalities, from the south, had a really good discussion with some of the challenges facing Cardston, some of the other urbans. So it was a great opportunity to connect, but I think more than anything, just to try and build those relationships and look for opportunity for us to work together. That was my month. With that, I'd throw to Division 3, Councillor Sayers.
Thank you, Reeve Campbell. September 7th, of course, council meeting. The 8th was the employment recognition night. I always look forward to those. It's good to get together in a social, have a social event with staff and just get to see them and recognize their achievements too, and have the kids out and families. And it was a great event. So thanks to our staff for putting that on. Foothills Little Bowl meeting is always good, just to network and get to know some of our counterparts in the other municipalities. Coledale Chamber of Commerce made that meeting, and we had a representative from SAWA speak. So that was really interesting to get an update on where they're at and how that project is moving forward. South Grove board meeting was up in Pitcher Butte. So it's nice to see them move around and get to see some other parts of the county and area. And the Water Commission meeting, and finished off the month with an Emergency Advisory Committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Highlights for me in September was the 8th, the Employee Recognition Night. It was nice to see council and administration and employees get together for breaking some bread and enjoying a good meal. And getting to chat with some of the people that really make things happen around this organization, as opposed to us that just make decisions for them. And then on September 26th, I attended on behalf of the county the 75th anniversary celebration of the People's Republic of China. Made some very good connections there when spoke with some of the diplomats and individuals that are interested in doing some trade with our region. So, and that was a very good celebration. And then on from there, as Reeve Campbell had stated, went to Alberta municipalities with CAO Beck and the three of us. And then I would reiterate that that time spent was extraordinarily valuable in building relationships with our smaller urban partners and our larger urban partners, and even the some of the urbans that are in other communities, because we all have very similar challenges, and aligning with them to make sure that we try to advance the region together is extraordinarily important. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Division 5, Councillor Van Essen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 9 council commitments. More significant for me is probably our land use bylaw review. Just recognizing the impact it has on everybody within our boundaries, and the significance of what it has the potential to do. And Public Works Workshop, just to be aware of how things are going. So, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Division 6, Councillor Vanderbeen.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we'll just go over some highlights. Iron Springs Parade was, of course, a nice parade again. Like, it's amazing how those people enjoy that, and we do have to go around twice in order to make it worthwhile. But anyway, I think it's a great success, and they put it up every year, and I think it's really good that we're in there. And then I think the other one is the SEWA. We had the AGM in Vulcan this year, and we need an AGM every year. That is in the bylaws. The ongoing discussions are still going with Hitachi to get an MOU in place, and we hope to have that done pretty quickly.
Thank you, Claus. Division 7, Councillor Zeenstra.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. September the 6th, public workshop, September the 7th, last was council meeting, September the 8th. Employee recognition night, that was a good one. And I was at the Iron Springs. I was not on the floor, but I was in attendance of the Iron Springs parade and celebration, and I did mingle with quite a few people from the area.
Thank you, Morris.
The reason that I'm not on the float down there is, I hate something to be thrown at me. However, and then the September the 14th land use bylaw, and the Foothills Little Bowler was a good meeting too, and then that's council meeting on the 21st. Thank you.
Thanks, Morris. As a couple of councillors noted, it is quite exhausting, the amount of work that the councillors put into their role as councillors. And I'm seeing here, most councillors are engaged in anywhere between 10 and 20 council commitments a month, ranging from the work that's done on internal committees, external committees, attending social events such as parades, advocacy, RMA, which is Rural Municipalities of Alberta, AM, both at the local level for RMA at Foothills Little Bow, also at the provincial level. We often have workshops throughout the month around land use planning, as Eric suggested. Had a recent one around assessment, levels of service. Those are the opportunities where council can come together with administration and brainstorm and look for solutions and ways forward. So I just want to thank all of council. I know we don't want to go through these necessarily all line by line, but I do want to acknowledge the work that you all do in the community, and then here at the office. It doesn't go unnoticed, and it is a big commitment, and I just want to thank all you for that. We have one more item on our agenda for today. That is the 2024 council meeting schedule. So this is where we have the opportunity to set our meeting dates for the coming year. And maybe I will throw to CAO Beck. We do have a couple of conferences, conventions that could potentially cause a few hiccups with the scheduling. So I would throw to you, CAO Beck.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think right now, as it stands, we have 5 months out of the 12 with only one council meeting in the month due to conflicts. And so it happens to be where we probably have to have a discussion around what those competing priorities are. FCM, for example, this year is in Calgary. Is that something that all of council would look to attend? RMA in the spring, we've got the Ag Service Conference, but that being in January, I don't think that has as much of a direct impact. It really is the RMA and the FCM conferences that probably have the most significant impact on those council meetings, and so really just looking for council to advise on what they'd like to be in attendance for and how they'd like to proceed with this schedule.
Thank you, Cole. I would open it up to council for your thoughts on this. Councillor Vanderveen?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that, you know, we could probably go ahead the way it is right now, and then if we do need to see the necessity of having a meeting, that we kind of put that one in somewhere in that week or the week after, that if necessary. I think we can go by the of the chair that we do it that way.
Thank you, Councillor Vanderveen. I would also maybe advise, and not that we have to have a motion or a commitment on these specific conferences, but at least philosophically, we should probably understand what the level of attendance or what council's desires are to attend those. So something like FCM, I know Candace has already pre-blocked rooms in anticipation in case we wish to go with the option to cancel, but we will have to make a determination on some of those sooner rather than later. So I think for us to prepare and plan for those, this may be an opportunity to do so as well.
I guess on that note, what are our thoughts on FCM? I think, you know, several members at the table have had the opportunity to attend in various locales throughout the country. I would open it up. Is there an interest to attend? If so, it is in Calgary. It is kind of in our backyard, but open it up for holistically, if that would be a all of council, certain members of council, how you'd like to proceed with that. John, and then Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the past, we've, you know, in the past couple of years anyway, we've elected to send 2, maybe 3 counselors. I think that model seems to work pretty well from in an FCM standpoint. I think it is something that is moderately important for people to actually be there and show a presence to, especially being that we're close to Calgary. But I wouldn't personally see a need to send the entire council to the FCM ever.
Okay, thank you, John. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'd agree. I think in the past, we've, you know, 2 people have gone, or counselors, and I think my understanding when we first came on council that it was a good experience to see it once, but we don't need to keep sending people to it. And, you know, with the cost, that's what happened to us last year when it was in Toronto. It was just astronomical, the cost and the value you'd got out of it. But I agree that because it's in Calgary here, that if there was, you know, 2 counselors that wanted to attend, I think that would be valid that hadn't attended. So anyway, that's it.
Okay. Any other thoughts, discussion on that? Councillor Vanderveen.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. What is the membership cost for FCM that we have to contribute of being a member?
Like a yearly, is there a yearly membership, Candace, that we would?
I think there's is there not a yearly membership? I thought there was.
Thank you, Councillor Vanderveen. So I believe the way that the conferences work is if you are a member, you have a reduced conference fee registration, and if you are not a member of FCM, which we are as a municipality, but as an individual, if you're not a member, you would just pay a slightly inflated price to attend the conference. I don't think it precludes you from attending if you're not a member of FCM. But the costs do escalate between the conference fee, the accommodations, the travel, the meals. I mean, it's some of those the ancillary costs for attending that can escalate the price point if we have a significant number of people that want to go.
But, my question actually was, what the cost of
Yeah,
the county is?
I think Jen
Oh,
was going to.
okay, Jen's working on that one. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Thank you. Lauren, did you have your hand?
Yeah, there is a cost, but I don't know, I can't remember what it is. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's anyone who's on council should attend once anyways during their terms. But I do see value in it, just to see how other municipalities, you learn a lot by going to those, just from the conversations you have in the hall, from what other people are doing to overcome the same issues that we have, or other municipalities have. I think their value is there, but do I think it's necessary to go to every one? No, I don't think so. It's just far too expensive.
Thank you, Lauren. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? We don't need to make a decision today, but I thought it'd be an opportunity to have the discussion, at least philosophically. Anything else? John?
Sorry, not on the FCM thing, but in terms of just sort of circling this back to our calendar. In terms of our meeting schedule, it looks overall that we've picked most of the dates that we can, and I would suggest that it looks pretty acceptable, and then if something comes that's very pressing and emerging, we can always call a special meeting.
Councillor Van Essen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Wondering what the chance of scratching one of the September meetings are. If you see our schedule there from last September too, we had a large amount of commitments across the board. And also, this might be a one-off, but we've had fairly light meeting schedules as well. So I'm interested in dropping one of those.
CEO Beck?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's really hard at this time to conclude what that meeting schedule will be or what those things are. I do think that it's manageable. It just may be a longer, or will be a longer meeting, you know, if we were to drop either I would suggest if you were going to drop one, we would drop the 19th and not the 5th, just because there's only one meeting in August as well, so that it doesn't get too cumulative there. But I can't speak to what would be on the docket for those meetings.
Thank you, Cole. Disappointed. Any conversation on Councillor Van Essen's point? Is there an appetite from council? Councillor Sayers?
I agree with what Eric's saying. We'd still leave the calendar the way it is, and then as we get closer, then we could drop the meeting. If we found a light agenda, then we can do it. But for now, if we just keep it in our calendar.
Any other thoughts? It's at your discretion, however you'd like to proceed. Plus?
I would agree with Mark. I think that we could probably just leave it, things the same. If we see that, that it's not necessary, that we just take it out.
So you're making a motion?
No, because everything stays the same, right?
Well, but do we want to adopt the meeting schedule as presented?
Yes, I'll move that we adopt the meeting schedule as presented.
Candace?
Sure, I just want clarification. If not all of you are going to FCM in June, are we having a second meeting in June, which would technically be held on the 6th, or not?
From what I'm getting, there is an appetite to have a couple members of council attend, so therefore maybe we will keep it off the schedule. Is that agreeable to council?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So 9 o'clock start, is this part of the schedule, or you want to change that too, or you're keeping it the same?
I could open that up for discussion as well. We currently start at 9 o'clock. Is there any appetite to change that? I know I appreciate the 9 o'clock start, but I would open it up for any thoughts or discussion.
Just a comment, that's all, so don't need that necessary, but I prefer 9:30.
Okay. Any other?
I appreciate it this way, it works out well.
Okay. Councillor Kurbis?
I mean, 9 o'clock seems to work well for myself.
Okay. Anyone else?
Or more.
Think we have consensus? 9 o'clock is okay. Any other discussion? Claus, you're willing to move to adopt the 2024 council meeting schedule as presented? Okay. Any further discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. I believe that is all we have for today. Councilor Kurbis, Deputy Reeve Kurbis.
Motion to adjourn.
John has motion to adjourn at 10:15 a.m. this morning. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.